Hello, my name is Jan Temenos. I work at Oakhaven Hospice, which is in Lymington in the New Forest, and I'm also a Macmillan professional. My job role has been the school project coordinator. However, that's just changing it's just expanding slightly. So I'm going to be the very first community engagement manager at Oakhaven, and I'm very excited about that. Acorn will be part of that. I'm very grateful that I was nominated by Macmillan last year for an award, and I won the award for Cancer Professional of the Year 2012, and which has been just fantastic not just for me but for the whole team. Today I was speaking in the Innovators Den about the Acorn approach, which is the work that we're doing at Oakhaven Hospice with children and young people in our community to address fears around death and dying. It was really exciting actually sharing with other people and also hearing what they had to say, because I'm so passionate about what I do. It works. It really works. It ticks so many boxes. It is fantastic for patients because they feel validated, and it gives them a purpose, and they come to understand, I think, that they are greater than the conditions they have. So if I was to hear about anything like that, I think I'd be excited and want to do it in the area that I work in. So I really hope that by taking it out, other people will be encouraged to have a go. And when I was really inspired by St. Christopher's and went there, it's such a huge hospice with so many resources. And the hospice I work at, Oakhaven, is much smaller, and we just don't have the resources that St. Christopher's have. So I know that a lot of people who actually see a brilliant piece of innovation actually think of trying to shoehorn that bit of innovation into the place where they work. And I think that if you think outside the box and you're a bit creative with it, it's just about doing something, anything. And that would be my encouragement to people. So when I was doing my presentation this morning, my focus was on why you would do it. My God, why would you do it? You've got to do it, right? I think if you really have a strong why, excitement about why to do something, you'll find a way of doing it. You'll find a way of how you can start and how it can flow. And that would be different for every organisation, and certainly the training days that I've set up and the consultancy work I've done to other hospices has showed that it's different everywhere because the community is different. But the overall magic of working with patients and children is really exciting. It just works. I've been doing this work for 3.5 years now, and it has gone from me doing something very small on my own, more or less, with a couple of volunteers, to something that is huge. When I started, it was very much an add-on. It was see what you can do. And in that time, it's got to a point, I think, where it's become a core part of the work that we do within the hospice, which really excites me because it's the whole of the hospice that take part. It's our project. And I think getting the award has actually deepened that, because I got the award, but behind me, although you can't see the people behind me because they're not visible here, behind me I have a team of hundreds of people. Behind me I have the whole of Oakhaven Hospice, Macmillan, who have just been amazing in their support of the project from the very beginning, and all of the children, and that's about 1,200 kids now that we've worked with directly, but also all of the patients, especially all of the patients, carers and volunteers who give their time. And so for all of the team, I'm grateful for the award and for the deepening and for the validation it's given them. Because when I went back to the hospice after I'd got the award, everybody was just delighted. And the patient said, "Oh my God, that's us too. You've got it, Jan, but we're part of this." So for all of them, I'm just really pleased. I'm going to actually give you lots of pictures of patients and children. And the reason I've put Paul in here is because Paul's experience actually really highlights that anything that we say as a team is definitely not confidential. Because one of the children asked Paul, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you with your illness? And he said, the worst thing that has ever happened to me is having diarrhea. And he went on to tell them about how he had to have a specimen. And I won't go into graphics, but it was how he got the poo into that little pot. And the children thought that was fantastic. And at a final day party, when they were introducing him to their families, they said, this is Paul. The worst thing that ever happened to him was that he had diarrhea, and regaled them with stories. The other thing about Paul that's interesting is, of course, you can see he is on oxygen pretty much all of the time. And often what the children do when they're introducing him, they'll say, this is Paul. He's got these things in his nose. They're called nasal cannula. And that's because he has to have oxygen all the time. That's because when he was younger, he really, really loved smoking. So all sorts of things come up in different ways. This lady here, Pauline, I brought her into a slide because she first had breast cancer 40 years ago. So the children also see that just because you have cancer doesn't mean you always do die. My hopes for the future is just going to continue to evolve and evolve and evolve, and hopefully to really get it out there nationally. I spoke at a conference in Australia at the end of last year, so they're even actually considering it in far north Queensland. So I'm hoping that the work at building links between the hospice and our community will just continue to grow, and bring in people who would normally not come into the hospice for a positive reason, which is key. So the way it's evolving at the moment is that we have too many patients who want to take part in it. We have too many schools that we can cram into a year, and that's even if we do them 2 at the same time. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at how we can take it out more broadly. So at the moment I'm looking at developing an apprenticeship for people in residential homes to come and work as part of the team, so that then we can actually work at building links between residential homes and the school down the road, so that the patients in nursing homes and residential homes actually get to go to carol concerts, they get to meet children, they get to learn, as we all do in the Acorn approach, that Acorn and Oakhaven are about looking at how we can live as well as we can with the challenges life gives us, while at the same time considering what a good death might be. So that's for people that are sick already and people who are well. It's for all of us to do that. So I guess in closing, what I'd like to really do is perhaps just tell a very short story about one of the parents told me. And I think it directly relates to why we started the project in the first place, which was about changing attitudes in the community. And she said that I nearly didn't let Tom do this project. I really didn't. She said, because my father died 6 months ago and he was very close to his granddad. She started getting quite tearful. And I said, sorry to hear that. And she said, but this week, she said, I was cooking something and I thought of my dad because it was a meal he really loved. She said, and I started really crying. I just let it go. I was crying in the kitchen, blubbing. She said, and suddenly I noticed out the corner of my eye that Tom was stood in the doorway. She said, and he didn't say anything, but he came up very quietly alongside me, stroked my arm, and he said, Mum, it's okay to be sad. It's normal. And sometimes I really miss Grandad too. She said, and there's something about him doing this project that has deepened his understanding about living and also got him thinking about dying. And I thought it would be morbid, but it isn't. It's very real, and it's made our relating very real. And I guess in closing, I really want to thank Macmillan for supporting us from from as soon as they knew about it, which was about 6 months in. They came in, they've supported me in every way, both in having resources for the project, in support in training. They've supported me really well. Thank Oakhaven for being the sort of place where innovation happens, and it does across the board. From the chief exec downwards, it's that kind of place, even though it's a small hospice. But my big, huge, great big thanks would be to my volunteer team, to the Acorn volunteer team, who are amazing and are stepping up into different roles, and also to the patients and carers who come in to work as part of the team. They don't come in to be cared for in the same way. They work as part of the team. Even if their life ends within the project, they come in to work. And of course the kids. Thank you.